Coach, thanks so much for doing this in these bizarre and unique circumstances. And before we talk about the incredible things going on with Cougar track and field, we need to note the reason for our video call and not one being in person, and social distancing and appropriateness and health and safety and wellness being paramount.
Yeah, it's, such unique times, and it's, so thankful to have such amazing guidance from Governor Inslee to President Schultz, and of course, Pat Chun and our athletic administration doing such an amazing job of helping everybody. And obviously our athletic department, you've seen it from the Cougs, you've seen it from across the nation, people really stepping up and making sure that they are being mindful of themselves and thoughtful of others as well.
You've had 5 of your athletes qualify for the NCAA Indoor Championships most recently, but the timing of all of this was really, really hard for your sport. You were right on the cusp of significant events and huge opportunity. Yeah,
we were actually at the facility finishing up the final warm-ups for the day before. And then that's when everybody got the news. And obviously it's difficult on everybody at that point. But the timing of that was, certainly a tough one to swallow. And with the group that we had the most qualifiers we had at WSU since 2000, with, Ray, Emmanuel Wells Jr. having a legitimate chance to be an NCAA champion, Charisma Taylor with I think an outside shot to be a national champion, and 3 others that were destined to be first team All-American. It's difficult, and everybody has a story like that. When there's a few hundred student athletes at that facility at that time dealing with that and the emotions that you see. But after you kind of sit back a little bit, and you realize, it's for the greater good, and we'll move forward, and we'll come out of it at the end of the day and have a new perspective and be stronger and better than ever.
The video of Ray's 60-meter dash, his explosiveness, his vertical jump, and some of his workouts that he's posted, they're incredible. Even for the amateur layman observer to not know about technique and what's the right way to do it or fundamentals, you can just tell it's phenomenal.
It really is. I've been coaching for 24, 25 years, coached the Olympic Games, and when you watch Ray hit one of his starts, it's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. When he's on, it's unmatched, and it's a lot of fun to see. And Coach Stevens and Ray have done a great job over the last couple of years, and his results have shown that.
How hard for your sport is it to time all of your workouts and your preparation with peaking right at those right moments, right at those times when you're trying to compete for a championship, as opposed to trying to have a great practice in that day and balancing leaving some in the tank for when it really counts versus working your hardest every single time you go out there and emptying every single possible ounce of energy?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that periodization, there's a little bit of art and there's a little bit of science behind it as well, because obviously it's very difficult to make sure that you've qualified for the NCAA meet. So you have to be one of the top 16 in the nation just to give yourself an opportunity. So you have to be pretty ready throughout the year to secure a spot there, and at the same time manage our training, manage the big efforts, the recovery, the hard work, cycling that correctly to make sure that when you're actually at the meet, then you can perform at your very best. And it's the other thing, it's very individual. Each student athlete adapts and responds to the training slightly differently. Some people need a more drastic taper and peak towards the end, where others thrive more on that more normalcy and that consistency of the training that they're used to throughout the season. And it definitely differs from event to event. And it sometimes takes 1 or 2 experiences or exposures to a big meet like that before you actually get it right.
How do you know when to push a student athlete? And every student athlete wants a coach to get the most out of them. But at the same time, how do you know when to say, oh, this is a moment where this student athlete feels like their legs are tired, and so yes, we need to rest a little bit? Or you go, no, I think you have more in you.
Yeah, another awesome question. And again, very, very individual. And this is where, that communication, the feedback, and the really one-on-one key sessions that you can have with the student athlete to be able to feel comfortable of pulling the reins back a little bit. In our sport, there's a tendency, and probably not too different from a lot of sports, to just keep working and working and working and working. The harder you work, the longer you work, the better you're going to be. But there needs to be that fine balance between the two. Our distance runners are notorious for it. They just want to continue to run and run and run. And there's definitely a science behind it. And but again, I go back to that art and science and knowing exactly what's going to work for each individual student athlete. And that comes with years of experience and working with that student athlete. The longer you work with them, the better coach you can become for that student athlete. So the more you learn about them, the more you understand how they're responding to different types of training and when to back off. So that the answer is one that doesn't really have an answer, so to speak, in that it's very much a day-to-day. You cycle your training where you have the appropriate hard training stimulus and then the appropriate amount of recovery. But those are things that, you manipulate, between the volume of training, the density of training, the intensity of training, and making sure you've got that all in the correct balance so that there's this peak. It's not typically linear, but you'd like it to be, but so that at the very, very end, you've got that right balance where you've had enough work, enough preparation, and then you've had the appropriate amounts of recovery. There's also things you can do right the week of or even the day before to make sure you've got that right muscle tension so that you're recovered, but you still have that feeling of that pop, that fire that you need, which differs from different event and from athlete to athlete.
Interesting. Well, great things are happening. I know there were 4 indoor records set this past year, and I hear about them, and we all hear about them. And be safe and be well. And we're excited to get back at it and be able to do this in person, maybe, and not via video conference and have to be so separate. Thank you for the time.
Yeah, I just like to thank everyone out there for, especially our healthcare workers and our essential service people, of what you're doing for us right now. It means the world to us, and thanks to the Cougar family, our administration, our student athletes, and thanks to you, Matt. And go Cougs.
Thanks, Coach. Go Cougs.